So lately I've been wishing that I had a small, portable MIDI controller that I could either take with me when I'm traveling or if I'm out in a coffee shop or something like that, or just for convenience on the desktop. Sometimes it's nice to just have something right at hand for a little bit of MIDI input. And this company reached out to me coincidentally and said, hey, would you like to review our 25-key miniature MIDI controller? I thought about it for about 2.5 seconds before saying, yeah, sure, that sounds great. Send it over. And so they did. The best way to get your hands wrapped around a new piece of gear is to write a tune. So that's exactly what I did. And in today's Make It Up on a Monday, we're going to be breaking down the World Tuna Mini MIDI Controller in a nasty groove. Make it up on a Monday. Okay, so in a MIDI controller, it's always about compromises, especially in a miniature one like this. Which compromises are you willing to accept in order to get maybe a smaller size, something that's a little bit more convenient? All of that being said, there's things I like, there's things that I don't like. But the most important question to me is, can you use it to make some music? And the answer in this case is absolutely. I put together this nasty little groove using nothing more than this MIDI controller and my computer. And here's what that tune ended up sounding like. Okay, let's zoom through this really quickly. Things I like. It's got a great price, about 75 bucks at the time of this. That's what this thing costs. Completely reasonable for what you get in the box. The keyboard is really nice. For a miniature mini key 25 key keyboard. It's not going to feel as nice as any 88 key controller, of course, but given what it is, I found it very playable. You have to play it a little bit differently than you would play other keyboards. You can cause it to turn notes off and things if you hit it too hard. But if you're playing it in a way that fits with the keyboard, it works great. The knobs and the faders, the knobs are fine. Standard infinite knobs that just turn forever. Faders feel pretty good. I like the friction to them. They feel reasonably high quality. The controls are plastic. I did hook all of these up to a MIDI log so that I could watch the values, and it was completely smooth. No gaps. Nice smooth change from 0 up to 127 in the controllers I was using for every fader and every knob. The pads are nice. They play really well, but they're extremely sensitive. I fiddled with the calibration and the curve on the pads quite a bit, and I got them the best I could. They're really sensitive. You can play them pretty well, but if you kind of get to feeling it a little bit, you're going to get max volume for everything. So I wish the pads were a hair less sensitive, or I had more control to sort of tune them down a little bit. The pitch wheel and the mod are not my favorite things. This is one of the compromises for me. I really like wheels, and I wish this had wheels. I know that that's a much more costly piece of equipment to include in a piece of gear like this. The ribbons, first of all, they were difficult to configure, and even playing them, I found them to be a little bit touchy and finicky. Wheels I would have preferred, but they're not bad. And when they're configured right, I think that they'll be okay. The software for configuring all of this is a little rough around the edges. I just found that it's not particularly user-friendly. It took quite a few clicks. Setting the controllers is done by drop-downs from 0 to 127, requiring lots of scrolling. I kind of would have enjoyed being able to just type the number of the controller in. It works, and I was able to go through. It's just a little bit painstaking and manual. And given that you're probably just going to set this up to your liking once and then not deal with it anymore, I don't think that's a huge cross against it. It does have a input for a pedal. So you've got one pedal that you can assign to any controller. It's not an expression pedal, so it's just an on or off switch as far as I can tell. When I first started using it, I didn't like it much. I hadn't configured it. The keyboard was extremely difficult to get volumes out. The initial velocity curve on the keyboard was really tough. You had to just hammer on keys to get anywhere near the top volume. But they've got 4 velocity curves, and choosing one of the different curves, I found it to be very playable after adjusting that. So with all of that being said, I like it quite a bit. It's only $75, and there are aspects of it that have that feel of a less expensive thing. It's mostly plastic, completely plastic as far as I can tell. But it works pretty well. And if that's something that fits in your budget and the kind of piece of gear that works in your situation, it might be a good thing to add. Thanks for tuning in. I hope to see you next time. I can't remember how it goes. Too much cat fur on my gear.